Hello, my name is Brant Hunt, and I am going to be sharing just a brief perspective on the Psalms 23 in the Bible. What is its meaning? And first of all, I'm going to read from the dictionary here. Psalms is a sacred psalm or poem. So let's look at what it says in the Bible. Many preachers, pastors tend to read this particular psalm at funeral services. My thought is simply it's a little too little, and too late in this perspective. That is, once a person passes, no longer is here. The problem is simply is he's supposed to make heaven within himself. He is supposed to find heaven within himself. He is to find God within himself. And unfortunately, today everything is what I call a literal interpretation from scriptures, meaning that simply is uh, it's a presupposition of what the meaning of the scriptures are. In other words, someone comes in and says, "This is um, what it means," and I learned some of this stuff when I was in college, in seminary. You see, I learned this information, and so I can tell you what it means. So you made a presupposition on this. You see, you already come in with a presupposition of what you're going to read. This is about all scripture. This is what people look at it because they're looking at it literally. And in reality, simply, it's just not what it means at all. I'll just read it to you. The Lord is my shepherd. That seems to be in a present um, sense. That is, it's actually in the present time fold. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou dost prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The whole idea simply is that someone has gone through ascension here. This is what the scripture is talking about. It's speaking of simply that you're ascended. You already are in the presence of God. You know that God is going to take care of you. You don't you don't maybe hope. You don't have a hope there. You see, you don't have a want because simply is you know you know that you have crossed over. You have found heaven within you. And yet, all we are seeing, and most, not all, it is all completely in this whole perspective that the Bible is literal interpretation when it is not literal at all. He speaks of simply as I gather here, simply as he makes me lie down in green pastures. Well, that gives me a idea simply is that there is no fears. I can lie down and there's no worries because I have taken care of what I came here to do in the first place was to find God within me. That's what it is. And you have people who basically, you can go back to John Calvin and Martin Luther and others who basically said you're nothing but a worm in God's sight. What a terrible perspective. What why would you even say that? Well, that you do this in some ways, you basically make people feel guilty about how bad they are. Well, what about, there is some good in us. After all, we are here, you see, on this planet. And this planet is what I would call a hell for most people. In fact, all people, you know, think about what goes on. I see people who blame other people for something that happened terribly in their lives. Well, were you not aware of what you were doing in your life, so to speak? That is meaning simply the psychological person who's messed up. Were you not aware, or you just simply walked into basically everything's fine? You didn't look at the signs that this particular personality person was lying to you or not. You didn't even what I'm gonna call test the waters to see if this person was really real. Who was you didn't see where this person did such and such. You just ignored it. All that he must be having a bad day or something of that nature. No, 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 no. You were not aware of what was going on around you. And so, anyway, the point simply is that people blame other people, and being that they're psychologically messed up. Well, you have to be aware in this day and age. You see, so the idea, I'm kind of got off text here a little bit, but he says he restores my soul. Meaning is simply is it's restored. It's restored from what I call not knowing the truth and knowing the truth. You see, and he guides me in the paths of righteousness because that's what I want. I want the truth. Truth is righteousness for his name's sake, for his glory, for God's glory. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that's what he's speaking of. This is hell. We're not guaranteed the next day we'll be alive on this planet. We're not. That's what we go through. We go through darkness every day, not knowing. We also have to struggle day by day to put what I call food on the table. Why is that? What kind of world is this? This is a fallen world, you see. We have to work put something on the table. We have to earn money to do that. In the past, long ago, it was it still wasn't any easier. Even in the past, it would have to go, the husband or the son or whatever would have to go out and kill something to go get an animal or plant crops in the field, such and such. But, I'm digressing here again. But what I'm trying to say simply is, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. So there's a confidence that what has happened, that his ascension has taken place, that he doesn't fear evil anymore. He's not afraid of it. You see, he's not afraid. And what's so sad about this? This is done when someone's dead. They've already died. They've already died. There's no way of coming back. That is, you'll have to reincarnate. But the point simply, it's too late to say that now. Why was this actually done expository? That is, expose this information to people. You see, in other words, tell them the truth. But the pastors don't know the truth. They're just as lost as you are. You have to ask another question. Why do preachers get paid to deceive you? Think about it. They are deceiving you. You know that. And now, this is simply, thou dost prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. In other words, I've been anointed. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. So there's blessings in my life. And it's not physical blessings, folks. It's knowing that simply you are a child of God. You already had the moment within your head, the ascension, where your pineal gland actually is the light within you, you see. Do you follow what I'm saying here? This is all about ascension. It's the confidence of knowing it simply is that you are not going to be coming back here again. You're no longer going to be coming to this particular hell on this planet. And it continues on. It says, it's just very short. Surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life. Of course it will. You're no longer worrying about things. You're not worried about anything about this life. You know who you are, you see. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The house is up here. The temple is up here. Do you know that simply they tell you this is your temple up here? Say, even physicians say that your temple. This is your temple. Not some building out here, but a temple is up here in your head. This is the highest part of who you are, physically and mentally. When you get up and stand, you stand on ground, you stand on the earth. Okay? But the key is your head is in heaven because it's the air, it's above everything. And that's the air sign, you see. My point here is really clear, trying to point out simply the whole idea here is to find yourself, to find out who you are. And scriptures are, there's truth in the scriptures for sure, but you've been deceived by what I call preachers who make money, who actually, sad part simply is that people don't want to know the truth. And most people won't even consider this. But that's the point I'm trying to make here is that almost 99.999% of people are deceived in this planet. And so I wanted to share with you basically this particular short passage because this is the passage that's always read to people when they're dead. And I found out today, a friend of mine who was in high school with me, actually 1 year younger than me, and we conversed on Facebook until probably a couple of years ago. He passed away. And as far as I know, he never came to anything of what we're talking about at Ascension. So it makes me aware how life is not guaranteed at all. And the Lord is my shepherd. And so you also can say simply is that you can picture this as the whole idea simply is that that you're almost like a sheep in his hand, such and such. He cares about you and his tender and loving kindness. But God is already within you. But you've got to turn on the light. You got to turn on the light to find him, you see. So I wanted to do the short phrase of this, mainly simply is because I feel so few people really realize what their purpose is. Your purpose here, the only purpose you're here for is to ascend. That's the only purpose you're here for. You're to find out who you are and that God is within you and find God within you, you see. And most don't understand that. They think they're here. They have that idea probably when they're youngsters, when they're infants. I was reading something else last night. It doesn't pertain to this particular verse, Bible, but it pertains to what I'm not a female, but we come from water. Do you know that? We are over 75% of us, our body is water. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, it means simply is we are from the sea, the water. You follow? We are water. There are 4 elements on this planet. You have earth, fire, water, and air. And these are all important, you see. But water is what we're contained in us. Anyway, the point simply when a woman gets pregnant, and eventually will have that child, are you aware that when a child actually comes out of the mother's womb, that child is already crying? Why is that child crying? Why is that child crying? Does that child already understand that simply he was in his mother's womb most of the time? Many children don't come out of their mother's womb. That is, meaning they're late, or they basically somehow realize they've got to enter this world of heartaches, a world of basically lack of love to one another on this planet. Also awakes probably in some ways that there's wars, people kill each other on this planet. There's no love because the love is not coming from their hearts. People have deceived themselves in so many ways. And it's a bloody thing. It's a bloody thing when a woman has a child. They have to wipe the face, they have to wipe the body, clean it up, such and such. They have to slap the body. Also, in other words, to get the attention of the child, such and such, because it can't also, it's got all this stuff all over its eyes. It can't see, so what? But that child knows in some ways why it's crying. Why is that child crying? Because that child has already come to realization, this is not what I bargained for. This is not what I thought this was what I was planning to be. This is not what I thought I was going to get into. I've been tricked here. Do you ever think about that and wonder? Anyway, I just thought to do a short video of that. Thank you. Wish you a good day. Take care.